Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. We just finished building this clearly dangerous rocket to see if we can get high enough into space to test our heat shield, and who knows, maybe go to orbit as well, just Oh! These guys... I forgot to turn down their thrust limiter. They're gonna be kicking real hard, considering that we, had smaller ones going at 50% thrust before. Let's leave these guys going at 58%. I think that means they'll be pushing substantially harder than the ones we had before. So there's some danger of burning up in the atmosphere on the way up. But they're also pushing against quite a bit more mass. So we might we need a bit more thrust, so it's fine that these are thrusting harder. I'm not sure quite how much harder they're thrusting. This could be still a problem. Our center of thrust is still yeah, right there. Fine. So let's give this a try, though. I'm still dubious. I think we could explode on the way up or on the way down, honestly. Or something else could go wrong somehow. Okay, our heading is 5 degrees? What does this even mean? We're pointed north. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to point east. Just because, equatorial orbits are a lot better than polar orbits, generally. They're easier. For reasons I don't understand. So let's just rotate the whole thing by 90 degrees and try again. Let's see, we were heading north, so we want to rotate it, yeah, like that. Save, launch. Yes, and now our heading is 270, well 280, which means we're facing not north, but west. Or rather, up is west. Is that right? It's a little hard to read. I'm not sure about the direction that we're pointing. Which way is up on this ship? I think up will tilt me to the right. I think. Because when we were at 90 degrees, down pointed us to the right, right? So, I don't know. Let's lower the thrust on these this liquid thing at the bottom. It's going to have to sustain for longer, and it doesn't need to provide as much upward thrust. These guys are going to get us crazy high. I feel like this is overdoing it, but I was having trouble figuring out how to get stronger thrusters than what we had before without going totally nuts and without having a super long rocket. So I think we'll just try this. What's the worst that can happen? We can always destage and get rid of these guys if they go crazy. It's a bit of a waste, but I think we should be safe to try. Shouldn't kill Jeb. Might waste some money. Staging all looks right. Can we what if I said I wanted to do some science now? Open the service bay. Observe the materials bay. Is it worth anything here? A little science. So, okay. I've confirmed... What? No. Close... service bay. So we've determined that we can indeed get at the science thing while it's in there. The parachutes are all together in the last stage. Good. Okay, we don't yet know whether the service bay actually protects them from re-entry or landing, but hopefully it will. And I think we're all set to take off make sure the boosters are going to activate. Yes. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, lift off. Okay, taking off pretty slowly, which is fair. We have a lot of mass, and we turned down these thrusters so they wouldn't burn us up on the way. Oh, SAS! Turn on SAS! Holy cow. Fortunately, it seems to be pointing at a reasonable level anyway. Let's turn up this thrust so we have a little bit more control over the rocket. We are going, solid fuel's gonna take us pretty high. How are we looking? Pretty... We turned a bit sooner than I would have liked because of forgetting SAS at the beginning. But we have a lot of fuel, so maybe that's okay. Let's turn down the liquid thing to save our fuel for the orbital burn. Only 14,000, huh? Well, let's push a little harder, I guess, actually. We need to push to get out of the atmosphere, honestly. How's this? Oh, this is much better. There go the boosters. Good. That went fine. Let's tilt just a little bit. Going up pretty high. Yeah, a couple 100,000 meters. We'll just burn out all this liquid fuel on this. We're clearly not going into orbit with such a ridiculous trajectory. But we should be, you know, cut the thrusters. That's like dangerously high. We might have some trouble re-entering with that kind of a trajectory, I think. Okay, so 200,000. That's pretty high. But that was the point. We wanted to test the heat shield, so we can adjust and come in a bit less steeply by widening the orbit once we're up. Since I think this is a bit steeper than we need to. But I don't want to, like, burn all the fuel to get us a very shallow re-entry. We just want to flatten it out a little bit. And let's speed up here. Get a bit closer to the top. And now is probably a fine time to do just a little bit of a of an adjustment burn here. Is that really our heading? Like that? I guess so. We haven't tipped over all the way yet? Turn off SAS. Just point more towards the horizon, please. And SAS back on. Yeah, we'll just throttle up here. Okay, there goes that stage. We're coming in still pretty hot. So I don't know, let's burn a little bit. How's this look? That's probably plenty. How does it look now? Yeah, I mean it's still fairly steep, but that was the idea. We'll burn a little bit more here. Okay, I think that ought to do. Let's just accelerate a bit. Whoa, geez, that was a bit more time warp than I intended. See what our speed is looking like. Oh, and look at our land speed, please. Actually, orbital speed is probably a better indicator. We're, yeah, okay, let's... I don't think we want to do any more burning. One thing we could do is burn pointing away to like, we could point up and burn to, like, reduce the amount of... I should, observe the material bay. Okay, save that. And while we're still in space, I wanted to get that done. How do I... Where's the science bay? Close the doors. Okay, cool. Let's jettison that part. And get this flipped around just in time, I think. Ugh. I messed this all up. Turn off SAS. We're going in the wrong direction. Wrong direction. Oh my gosh, I was so So busy with the other stuff, I didn't get close to testing out the heat shield. Alright, well, that was exciting. Cool. Turn up the parachute settings, please. And it's safe to deploy, so let's... Alright, we clearly don't actually need the heat shield for this re-entry. Yeah, that was... Also, we seem to have jettisoned the heat shield or forgotten to bring it along or something. So, it was all sort of pointless anyway. I got caught up in last-minute stuff and forgot to reorient. I wanted to use the science bay first. And so we didn't even... We had a little bit of a panic coming in and didn't get to test the heat shield, although it looks like we don't have one. But, so good news. This thing seems to be enough to protect the science bay from the effects of re-entry. Whether it's enough to protect the science bay from the splashdown, I'm less sure. Boy, I turned the parachutes up quite a bit because I wasn't sure where we were coming down, and I felt like I was in a hurry. We had plenty of time. And we're coming down in the water, so definitely was not necessary to spend quite this long waiting to land. But had to make some quick decisions in a position where I was not really sure what was going on. What if I turn on SAS? Wow, she actually can control it quite well. Just snapped to attention. Of course, that was at 4x speed, but... And now, with all the parachutes deployed, I think we're at a speed low enough that the science thing should land safely as well. Now, we didn't get a lot of science out of it. Oh, also, we forgot to observe the mystery goo while we were in space. Whoops. Well. Alright, so we had a ton of time up in space, but we were just busy thinking about orbital mechanics and didn't think at all about the science we could be gaining. And now we've got sort of a long splashdown. This is a recurring theme, I think, is that I trigger the parachutes way too early, because I'm always in a panic during the re-entry. Did we get going fast enough that we could have tested the heat shield if we, Oh yeah, look how slow we're going. Wow. Could we have tested the heat shield if we had actually had it on the ship? I think so? Maybe? I don't know. There was just I time warped and got like really close to the atmosphere, and then I suddenly realized some things I had to do and didn't really have time to look around. But honestly, I'm quite surprised at how well that set of 2 thumpers did at boosting us into a reasonable looking orbit. We could turn the thrust on them up a bit. It seemed like we had no problem with burn up on the way out of the atmosphere, and they would be more effective if they were burning hotter for less long. And then we wouldn't have to use our other stage to gain altitude. We could use it to try to like actually orbit or something. Okay, down we landed, and we returned safely with at least a little bit of science. Not as much as I would have liked. Yeah, we earned 5 science. Great. And we're spending money, but like not a lot. We've been floating at around 400,000 for a while now. Our contracts seem to be mostly keeping us afloat. Honestly, I want to launch the same ship, just make some slight adjustments to the parameters on these guys. Set them to like 70, maybe? That should be all I really need to do. And what do you think? Should we try to get in... Oh, let's check the heat shields? What was that all about? Did we like not have any? Yeah, we didn't put one on. Clearly we don't need one, but I'll feel a lot better with one on, and also we can test science with it. or do our contract with it. So that's a simple adjustment. Add a heat shield. I feel like we don't even need this parachute, honestly. These two are fine, but whatever. We get the parachutes back. It's not expensive. Why is it like 45 degrees off again? I don't understand this. I'm pretty sure I hit save. Whoa! When I was done last time. Pick the whole thing up a bit. Ugh. Up. There we go. Move this to here, and just one of them, please, is plenty. Save. So what if I said to launch this? Is it going to be pointed the right way? Our heading is 270, which is that way, so I think S is what is going to launch us east. I wouldn't mind having it go the other direction, but I don't think it's really worth launching just to ensure that. So we'll just throttle up to like that much, just enough to give us a little control, but not really much thrust. We'll let the boosters provide all that. And so we're going to try again, and I kind of want to aim for an orbit this time, and hope that as a result we have a re-entry burn that is pretty fast. And if that happens, great. If it doesn't, oh well. So let's just give this a launch in 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Okay. We are going up pretty... We're not gaining speed nearly as quickly as we did on the smaller rockets, but we have a lot of sustain because of these gigantic fuel tanks, right? So we seem to be pointing a bit west. Is that a problem? No, we're still going east. All right. I can't figure out which way to point it to go that direction. Nothing seems to work. Like this? There we go. Can you try to hold it that way, please? Alright. I'm not getting as much height as I would have liked from these solid fuel boosters. But we got some anyway. We have quite a lot of fuel left in our liquid stage here. So which... I guess we're going this direction, so... might as well try to point this way some more. What's our apoapsis like? Well, we'll keep burning until we're at like 100,000 or something. That's a bit high, but I expect the... yeah, that should be fine. I expect the atmosphere to drag us down out of this a little bit. Right? 96? Okay, we maybe shot a bit high here. Yeah, I could have stopped burning earlier. That would have been a good idea. I expected more atmospheric drag. I didn't realize quite how high up we already were. Yeah, it looks like we're at like 96.5 basically, is where our trajectory is going to bring us. Well, okay. Let's try to orient towards the direction we're going. Which is like this. And see if we have enough fuel to do something interesting once we're up there. Get into perhaps an unusually high orbit. 96 isn't that outrageous. At like 80 would be better, but... we could do some silly stuff like burn retrograde right now, try to reduce our apoapsis, but I don't think that that's a good use of fuel. I guess what we could do is burn a little bit towards below the horizon when we're extending our periapsis, which actually we should start doing pretty soon, huh? Like now? Turn off the SAS, please. I just want to point us a bit over that way, and there, that ought to do. Cool. Let's burn. I should have done that a while ago. There we go. That's widening quite nicely. And kind of aim it a little below the horizon to try to reduce our apoapsis just a tad. Definitely burned too late here. It's not going to be as efficient as it could have been. What? There we go. I thought I hit spacebar twice, but it didn't let me. Maybe the second click was cancelled just in case it was a mistake, because I did it so quickly. I don't know. Okay, it's widening, and we have a lot of fuel to do it with. Not sure it's widening as much as I would like. Look at it go! Are we gonna make it? I don't think so. We're well past apoapsis now, so this burn is not as efficient as it would be if we were doing it earlier. We're getting like halfway around the world, maybe. Look at those lines. They're gonna make it across, but yeah, not quite. All right. Well, see you later, you stupid orbital stage. Just put a little more fuel in it, actually, in the orbital stage, and I think we'd be good. Plus, like, not get quite so high. I would have more. There's a number of things we could have done better in this flight to improve things. Let's see. Let's open this thing and see what the material bay is up to. 25 science, finally. It's been forever since we picked up any, like, reasonable amount of science. Let's close the doors on that. And on the service bay. Cool. Do we get anything good out of the mystery goo at this height still? Yeah, 10 more science. Can we do a crew report? No, not really. Okay, fair enough. And we're on our way back down already. So, let's turn the SAS off and just get pointed the other way. Yes, perfect. Good catch there, Jeb. Wasn't sure who was flying this one. Had to double check the crew roster. And we're going, like, pretty fast, actually. We should be able to test this, right? It wants up to 2,400 meters per second at 52,000 meters in altitude. I think we should hit that. We shouldn't be going any faster than 2,500 meters per second by the time we come in, I think. So, okay, we hoped to achieve orbit and said, like, well, forget about the heat shield thing. And we ended up doing the opposite. We're, I think, going to be able to successfully test the heat shield, but not actually get into orbit. Okay, well, that's fine. What's our ground speed? 2,000. Oh, it's actually our surface speed is not quite high enough, but we're still accelerating. I think we'll get there. Yeah. The surface speed, it looks like, is going to catch up just fine. Let's stay on target. Our speed is right, and we just have to wait for the altitude to lower a tiny bit to 52,000 meters, and then we'll run the test, and I think we'll be okay. We will finally get this contract off our plate. Want to test it before the re-entry slows us down and gets us out of the target speed range. That would stink. And come on, run test. We did it! We tested the heat shield. Great! Now let's get all this crap out of the way so I can focus on making sure we're oriented properly. Turn off SAS. Just keep that heat shield pointed. Wait, that's the... What happened to the science bit? Did I destage it somehow? Where did it go? Oh no, it's still here. Okay, this just says crew hatch for some reason, I thought. I was just pointing at the wrong part. Okay. Are we coming down over land? It's hard to tell in the dark. Still hard to tell from the map view. Looks like land, but I think these parachutes are going to be fine. We've deployed the parachutes unnecessarily early many times. I don't think we need to do it again. Wow, look at this! We are like a comet coming in here. That heat shield is putting in work. We're coming in nice and shallow, so we have plenty of time to burn off speed before we face plant into the into a mountain or something. We're having some heat issues. Keep that heat shield oriented right, please. Just like that. Thank you. Alright, sounds like it's cooling down now. Whew. I'm not sure what was heating up there, but I was a little bit spooked. And now, a gentle float back to Earth. It's funny to be falling and losing speed. I guess it's because we're still, like... Why is that happening? Shouldn't we be gaining speed now? Now that we're done with the re-entry? I guess we're turning our horizontal movement into less downward movement. That is, into downward movement, but we're not getting as much of it as we had horizontally. Interesting. Looks like we might actually make it to this ocean here. Not sure. Depends on when we fire the parachutes, I guess. It's starting to look like we'll land on the shore instead, I think. We're still losing speed. Huh. Alright. I don't understand why. 4 kilometers? Oh, we are gonna make it to the ocean. That's why I'm trying to delay releasing the parachutes until I was sure we would land in the ocean so that I wouldn't have to fuss with them at all. It's probably a good time to deploy the parachutes, I guess. Yeah, that's slowing us down nicely. Sooner than necessary, but enough that I felt safe. And not so outrageously early as some of our earlier flights were. Good work, Jeb. You piloted us almost into orbit, and got us going fast enough to give that heat shield some real exercise. That was the longest re-entry we've had in a while, because we were coming in so shallow, which is good. If we had been coming in steeper, we would have had some issues, I think. And the closest we've been to orbit in a while as well. Just a few improvements there, and I think we should be able to do it in the next couple of flights. I'm not sure what contract we'll take next. It doesn't really matter that much. I wonder, do we have enough science to do anything new yet? I don't think so. But we're probably getting close. Oh look, we actually ran out of a blader here. So this is how much of the heat shield we burned through, I guess. It has 200 units of a blader, and we could have we only used 33 of them. So we could put on less, I guess. Make it a bit lighter. Also, I could have jettisoned the heat shield a while ago, but I guess we'll bring it back and, like, why not, right? I don't know if you can put less ablator on a heat shield while you're in the landing, or in the VAB to make the vehicle lighter. I think you can. So look at that, we picked up 35 science, we're at 66. I believe that is enough to do something interesting, although I don't necessarily know what. And, oh, here's all our messages about tourists still. Yep, yep, yep. And we tested the heat shield and got 31,000 bucks, some science, some rep. Great. Any new contracts we can take? Some more stuff that, like, test some parts that we don't own yet, basically, is what this is all about. Or do some space plane stuff, but I don't really want to. Alright, well, that'll wait until morning, I guess. Yeah, and in particular, the next episode. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.